How's it going, everyone? It is Tuesday, October 29th, 2024. No pick from the video yesterday. I mentioned my reasons. We had a dead day with a lot of news coming up. I typically like to give one pick per video, but in this case, I felt like I would be doing a disservice by forcing a pick in this situation, and that's a little bit how I feel today. I did call out some nice day trades in that video yesterday that you can take. I'll be doing the same thing today. There's not really a lot of picks that I want to give, really even swing trading wise. My goal for today, we're going to go over some day trading picks, and we're going to conduct a search to say what are some strong D1 charts, and we can mark that. So we're going to kind of do more of a live session of just preparing for the week. Personally too, this is interesting because I have really been introspecting and analyzing my ability to trade cycles and internalize that knowledge. This exercise of just marking some of these charts where I take trades, that's important. And just waiting for the right opportunity. And it's just the weird thing in trading. This is going to be a mini rant, but just the idea that there's some times where you don't really want to do a whole lot, and just getting used to the time scale of that. It might be, in this case, right, something like 2 weeks is pretty typical. 2 weeks, and then something happens. Wait for the pullback. Here's a move, and then something happens. So most of the time, like 80% of the time for your swing trades, you're kind of just waiting for these windows to line up, and then you can take some nice gains. So that's kind of where we are right now. We're just in one of these windows. We had that breakout a couple kind of early in October. We're just kind of pitter-pattering around. We're waiting for those releases. Again, nothing has really changed on a longer-term basis, on a longer-term basis, technically or fundamentally. I've highlighted, kind of my reasons for those. We're still on a bullish trend on a longer-term basis, and if you're ever confused, just zoom out to a weekly chart. Here is our longer-term trend. Here was that reversal, dip, dip. Then we got some nice buying over here, dip, and then after this breakout, we've just been trickling higher for the past couple of weeks. So this type of price action is no longer really here. We're seeing, look at these tiny bud candles. This is over the course of the week, right? So these really tiny candles, these small ETR candles, tells us that there's a compression over here. So that's the longer term basis. On a shorter term basis, if I zoom in, maybe let's look at like an H1 chart, past couple of days. I'm gonna take off VWAP here. Market has just been dancing around. It's just been, here's our breakout. We've been moving up, stall, move down, stall, move up, stall, move down, up. We're just, pretty much going nowhere. If I were to say, hey, look, here's the stock, a week ago, right? We're still around this 580 level. We haven't really done a whole lot through here. So that's why moves, we start to get something going and we stall in one direction because we're kind of in this compression. We're in this sideways motion, and buyers aren't really going to throw in that towel. But they're not as confident to break out of the range until they get some information that warrants, all of the institutions to revise their price points, revise their price targets, revise their valuations, and so on. One thing that's been slowly, I've been kind of slowly, oops, that's the wrong D1 chart here. One thing that's kind of been slowly coming to my head is just realizing that, look, here's our last earnings seasons, right? The valuations were high. We might see something bearish. And now if we go from this earnings seasons to the next earnings season, the price hasn't moved too much in the stock market, but the earnings has come up. So if you think about just basic PE ratio, right, your P is about the same, your E goes up, so the ratio goes down, which means a more attractive valuation. So that's the extent of my fundamental analysis, and that's really just to get into the heads of institutions. They know what PE ratios are important, or obviously a million other factors that determine if this is a good investment on the longer term horizon. And that is just one little insight into that idea. So I mentioned that's on the shorter term time frame. Now on an intraday basis, yesterday we had a little gap up. Lots of LPTE conditions. You can see that we go one way, go back up, go back down, and just a lot of mixed candles really going nowhere. We're just dancing. I mean, VWAP was kind of around here, so we're just kind of getting glued to VWAP. Now today, a little bit more of a trend because we had this gap down. We tested this support over here from a couple of days ago. So we had some support at 587.50. Market found some support and we tested this, bounced back up a little bit. Jolts came out. We got a long green candle, big red bearish engulfing candle and heavier volume. Okay, a little bit bearish. Now we got this 1OP bearish cross. And then this was a pretty interesting cross here. So on this bearish cross, right, it looks like, okay, hey man, bearish engulf. That's a pretty little bit of a scary candle here. We're testing this. We kind of break past the halfway point, but not really too much here. And now we're getting this bearish cycle, getting a bit of a double, inching up higher, a bit of a double top. So this is not a bad shorting opportunity. And then you can see that the market pretty much does nothing on this bearish cycle. Couple of tests, but it's just holding its own. And we're actually breaking through. We're holding the halfway point of this long red candle. So we're actually, if it was more bearish, we wouldn't retrace into this candle as much. We would actually hold this point right here. And the fact that we're not holding it as this bearish cycle is producing is telling us that there is a bid at this level. So that ended up being a red solo. So now you can flip over here to the long side if you want, take some starter longs. We get another test. We get one test, a little failed breakout, doesn't really work. If I put in actually these 1 SD bands, which is pretty interesting, you can see how we're kind of in between, just kind of chopping around these bands. But you actually want to buy in on these red candles over here, right? Red candle, then it flips. Green candle is actually when you wanted to get the dip, sell it off. A red candle, finding some support. Here's actually where I would buy it, and then take gains on this pop up over here, because you know that as soon as the market gets overextended, we're going to slam it down. There's no real momentum that's going to come out of this market. So that was a really nice little SPY trade, and now you can see the market's pulling back a little bit over here. Maybe you could also buy again, but I don't have that 1OP bullish cross anymore, so I wouldn't take that opportunity. So mildly bullish on a day like this. And then you could find probably some nice bullish little day trades over here. So we're just going to kind of scroll through a couple of them. A lot of these too, since there's so many earnings, there's some stocks that are making some decent earnings play. Interesting. RCL is interesting. Nice move over here. Double top. Started to sell off. We got this green solo. Maybe we'd like it to hold after this selling pressure. Yeah, not a massive fan of that. This price action intraday. I think we can find a better pick. There's some stocks that were strong. They may be shedding some of the gains. Zoom is a pretty nice breakout through this horizontal level. Some volume over here is decent. We got buy signals on all the time frames. So we're breaking out over here. Stock had a nice move in the morning, pulling back. So we probably want to set an alert. We got this 1OP bullish cross coming up over here. So could potentially buy close to VWAP. But we're still waiting for that timing on this stock. And I don't love this double top over here on the stock. So maybe not as crazy about this, although we are finding support at this 75.50. So a bit of a judgment call. You can maybe take this support, and if it breaks below VWAP, then you can take the loss on the stock. That's not a bad entry point over here. So we're just going to sort through a couple of stocks that are got some nice volume today. LTBR has made a big move. Okay. Earnings coming up. TGTX, fan favorite. Nope, don't want to trade that guy. It's not a pattern that I like. Let's look at. No, AVGO was looking nice earlier in the day. Nice. So this stock looks like it's going to go higher. We have this bearish divergence. We're getting a test. We're holding the bid over here. So I like what I see in this stock. Yeah, some nice volume coming in on AVGO. So AVGO is not a bad pick. I was eyeing DHI earlier. Was a decent play. This is a gap fill reversal, so the setup is not really a very basic setup. I think it's more of an intermediate or advanced setup, but you have this big move down on earnings, massive move down. So that's the first clue on this stock. Gap down over 10%. Stock puts in this bullish green, bullish long candle here. Tests, holds, tests again, holds, and then it starts to inch up and grind up higher. So ideally, I like to take these trades. We get a stock that produces, we get a pullback in the stock or a stock that kind of hugs its high of the day, and then I'd like to see the breakout of that stock as it continues forward. Now, in this case, the stock is getting some resistance at this gap over here from the 18th. So has to really clear that level. And 1OP is not going to help you get through D1 resistances. So although we had this 1OP bullish cross right over here, around 1250, 1255, did not produce and ended up pretty much scratching out of that trade. But wouldn't even take the trade anyways because you got to get through that D1 level. And that's going to be more important. So, that's another example. But let's look at some strong stocks and let's try to find some strong stocks for today. So I'm going to create just a custom search. Okay, so I'm going to go over here. I'm going to take out some of these. So I just like to do price. Let's do good option liquidity. Okay. And so let's find a stock that has a trade signal on the D1. And let's just look at what's going on in the market. So what kind of stock would we like to see? Well, we want a stock that's trending up, right? We want strong stocks. And there's kind of two types of trade-ups you can take. We can take stocks that are coming off a reversal, off a D1 reversal. So if I go to my D1 bullish reversal search, Airbnb is a decent one. So this stock, right, it's put in that low, put in that base, it's starting to grind up higher. Really choppy stock, so not crazy about it. Also not a ton of momentum, so you want to get in closer to these pullbacks. But a really nice example would be something like IONQ. That's pretty much the quintessential example here. And so this bullish reversal search got caught sometime over here, right? So stock is kind of compressing, not doing a whole lot. We get this breakout candle over here, and then stock has a very, very strong reversal, has been in a sharp downtrend for several months or even years. And then we get massive candle here, tons of volume coming to the stock, which creates very, very orderly price action. So that's a nice example of a bullish reversal. U is a good example of bullish reversal earlier, so I took this trade. Stock had put in a bottom. We had broken out through here, close to that support, then rallied up higher, and I took some gains, probably somewhere here, around 21 bucks. And then it looks like it ended up kind of pitter-pattering out around, I don't know, $23-ish, $24-ish. So that still has to come into play, but that's an example of a bullish reversal. If we want to look at like a bullish continuation, so these are stocks that already have strong D1s, and we're just entering that D1 at a favorable trend. So TTD is a nice example. You can see it's just been steadily grinding up higher. In this compression, looks like it's trying to break out of this compression. Not quite there yet. And if I zoom out, maybe, and we're just gonna keep an H1 chart on here for TTD. So yeah, the stock, I mean, just kind of in this compression. It's kind of weird. Broke out, failed breakout here. We actually got the true breakout, and then we came back and held the test. We're looking pretty good. Some nice relative strength in here. So I would lean on this prior compression level at 118. That would be my stop. Good relative strength. I think we're still on a buy signal, so that's some nice stuff on TTD. So that would be a pretty nice continuation trade. And what I would do is I would redraw this trend line. So I would draw this trend line, something like that. Yeah, there we go. Look at that. Perfect. Coming off the bottom of this channel. And I don't know how this is going to work. Yeah, it's not really parallel. I like to draw them parallel. So I am going to do something like this. Just make my parallel line. And just kind of see what is going on here. Maybe something like this could work if we cut off the top of that candle. You could even do something like that. Could potentially work, and it kind of died over here as the market died. But I like TTD, so that would be an example of a good long that I'd potentially take. There's earnings. Also, by the way, too, we got a big 1OP bullish divergence, and this is crossing up. So that is a pretty good sign. So may take that in the next day or two, I'm thinking. May take that trade. Now, it is a slow mover, right? Compresses, moves up. This 1OP cross is actually doing a pretty decent job over here, although I actually got this part wrong. Diverged over here. So I'm using this potentially to see if I can get any sort of edge trading this stock. Sometimes it's right. Looks like sometimes it's spot on. It does need some good volume on this, but that's a nice potential swing. So I'm going to add that to have another list of potential swings that you take a look at every day. So PCT is a great example of this, right? Big breakout over here a couple days ago, digesting some of these gains, pulling back. I think I have an alert set. Let's view alerts. Buy signal M15. So when that is triggered, I can get in on this stock. Here's this stock on an H1 basis. Massive move, pulling back over here. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. Yep. So really massive move, pulling back, but holding a ton of the gains, which is what I like. Not a deep pullback. So, yeah, I mean, when I get that M15 buy signal, I'm probably going to get in on PCT. I mean, this is just a beautiful breakout on the D1 chart. It does kind of move up, stop, move up, stop. So after that big move, it may take a couple of days to digest those gains, and I'm okay with that. But yeah, I mean, this is a really nice breakout on this stock. Looking at a couple of other ones here, COMM, cheap stock. Right, and you can see how, again, we got this nice, this is really sinking in with 1OP. Good volume over here. We got the buy signal. We can probably draw a upward sloping trend line like so. So that is working out pretty well. And we had this channel over here. So it looks like we had this long bullish channel that had got broken in a time breach. Yeah, so time breach, and then we formed a new channel that's probably a little bit less bullish. So yeah, bounce off the bottom of the channel, and that is your trade. So looks like we might be making another little channel here, but long pullback, and this is the type of move that will give us the bid. So I like COM. You can get in on shares, pretty cheap stock. Another one over here. I mean, PLTR has been on a tear. This is a beautiful pattern. delete that. And just kind of mark these up and see, okay, well, like, how would I want to enter these stocks? If I put in an AVWAP over here, okay, I've tested that, it broke through there, so that's not very important. What if I put an AVWAP over here? Okay, so we kind of tested that. We're kind of breaking out over that AVWAP from the high. Holding this level over here, fresh 1p bullish cross. So PLTR might be on the top of the list in terms of swings that I take. Earnings 11.5. So again, right, you don't have a ton of time into that trade. And you can even see if the stock rallies into earnings. So if I look at my search, sure, PLTR is somewhere here. Okay, so let's look at pre-earnings bull next week. Scan. It is not. PCT is. So that could be a good one. And let's just take a look at some of these here. App. Nice breakout. Has made a really, really nice run. Could blink. So all that's to say, look, there's a couple ways you can design this search. So what I'm first going to do is I'm probably going to recreate the continuation search here. But what we're looking for are stocks that are above their all their moving averages here. Take this out. Scan that. So we got a lot of stocks that are in this area. Obviously, let's look at for some stocks that are showing some relative strength over the last on an H1 basis. All right, and how about a trade signal here, but maybe something like this? It actually might be empty. That's probably what's going to happen here. All right, so we got 50-ish stocks or so. I'll put in price. Okay, so take out some low float ones here. You could put in weekly options if you want. No ETFs. So we got a pretty decent list. We can trim it a little bit more. I could do. Sorry about that. I had the list on a separate screen. Maybe we can look at a couple of things here. So you could look at maybe a stock that has a trend line breakout if you want. So we can look at, okay, AUR. These are some stocks that are breaking out of that trend line. IREN broke out, gap up. It's going to be a little choppy here. So set an alert on that trade signal. Hey, nice breakout on NU. Very liquid. Earnings in a little bit. Let's look at this NU chart here. It's a nice grinder. Pullbacks. This certainly pulls back. So I'm going to set an alert on NU. Actually, I should really swap these. Create alert. M15 buy signal. Buy that. Okay. And then we're going to go to the next stock. It's got to get through this channel. I like it, but it's not like I'd like to see you do a little bit more here. There's just a couple of stuff that it's got to get through. So we're going to keep an eye on sound. We have the alert set on that. ZM, we called this out today. Nice, that broke out. We're also going to create an alert on an M15 buy signal. So I really like having these set up here because then I can quickly create alerts off of these. I really should actually have it here. Probably make a little more sense. Okay, so that's a pretty strict criteria, strict search. But yeah, you can just flip through some of these charts. AAL, AG, AI. Kind of see how these stocks move. Broke out, came back in over here. Amazon's got earnings. gap. APO's nice. ARM just has a whole bunch of shit to go through. I know this chart. So there's a whole bunch of high volume candles coming in here, just places where it can stop and, kind of stutter and sputter a little bit over here. Yeah, so it's really, really marked up here. AUR. Again, earnings coming up. Hood is nice. MS is compressing after those earnings. HIMS. Yep, so this is kind of the process. Just go through. We're looking for charts with nice, orderly price action. So this is actually a decent breakout on Geo. So we got this breakout over here initially, and it held the gains, held AVOQ, and now it's breaking out again today, or breaking out again yesterday. Now it's holding the gains today, testing this little bit of resistance from this gap a little while ago. So I like what I see here. We got a buy signal on the M15. I just would like it to get above this high, get back into that gap, and then I'm feeling pretty good about buying it. And then we got a nice bit of room over here until $17, $18 level. So that's what I would do with Geo. Yeah, super high volume breakout. And this is a nice little reversal pattern. Stock has put in the bottom, tested that bottom again, held that, and then we have slowly digested those gains and grinded higher, getting in the middle of the range, and we have room to the top of that range. So Geo is looking pretty nice. Maybe I'll also add that to the list. We have some time before earnings. So yeah, I'm not going to go through all these, but I hope, this is one search you can do. For my reversal search, how I run that, I'll show you that quickly. So this is the reversal search, and this is actually on the Option Stalker website. You can look at those searches there. I want a stock that has a trade signal shorter term. This is a little bit more restrictive. Maybe you can do something like this, -6. So this is just stocks with weekly options or monthly options. You can kind of expand this as you wish. The main criteria here is I want a stock above the 50 but below the 200. That captures these reversals pretty well. So right, so here's a stock that's put in the bottom. It's starting to inch up higher. Some of these, you have to really know the price pattern of the stock. I don't like this as much. It's okay. It's not the best. Right, this stock is just, look, we had this little short covering, then we got smacked back down. So we want to look for a stock that really had a trend down, that trend has stalled, and now that trend has starting to reverse. So Microchip could be a good example of that. This trend down, we've been in this bottoming out process. We're kind of getting through the 50. I'd like to see kind of a more well-defined breakout, like a nice long green candle here. Like we need some sort of signal that this trend is beginning to start. Otherwise, we are just bottom picking. If you look at IONQ, if you look at U, we had a big breakout, a big reversal that told us, hey man, now you can get in on the trade. Trip is actually a really nice one. That is the one. Yeah, Trip is pretty good. Also Play is pretty nice here. So you can see that, okay, here's the trend, right? We bottomed out. We're getting above the, let's take out this AVWAP here. Okay. So earnings, again, we broke through the 50 SMA. We're above the AVWAP, and we have that buy signal, right? So this buy signal is big because it really tells us that, hey, this move is beginning to get good. We're above that 50, and then we actually have been starting to grind up higher on the stock. So we got this buy signal here. We actually got this divergence coming up as well. We now through the 100. We tested that. We bounced back up. So it is a choppy stock. It's not the most ideal price action, but if we get a little bit of a market tailwind, this stock has some room until that 200-day SMA. It's a nice $5 of room on that stock. So play is pretty nice. That is a nice D1 reversal. And I'd probably draw, looks like some horizontal support, resistance somewhere here. If I looked at this, maybe this is a high volume candle here. So I just know that here is kind of these stopping points, really, really big stopping points for the stock. Right. Over here, and then that's it. So once this has some volume, it should be able to get through most of these levels over here. Another high volume candle there. Yeah. So that is play. You can just kind of mark it up however you want, right? We're through this long-term channel. Time break over here. Test, 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 test. Slowly rising up higher, and then we're going to start to get that lift off. All right. So those are some picks. Those are some ways you can come up some searches. That's what I plan to do today. So I hope this was helpful, everyone. Again, not really any pick today. But you just keep working some charts. We're getting ready for a nice swing trading opportunity at the end of the year. That is what I'm preparing for, and I don't care about these little meager scraps for today. I want to get in well and be prepared early for a very, very nice move. Thanks for watching, everyone, and we'll take a look at our positions on Wednesday.